another phone? Yes. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Kevaratari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Kevaratari Yasodanandana Bhajadana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhajadana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Hare Krishna, good evening. This evening we will be speaking on a very important aspect of the process of sadhana bhakti. That sadhana bhakti means practicing devotional service. And the practice of devotional services have two aspects: devotion and service, internal, external. So the internal attitude while performing devotional service is very important. And we will learn this evening about this eternal aspect on the basis of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text 10. I will recite first the Sanskrit of this verse and the translation, and we will hear the purport. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Brahmanyadaya karmani sangham tyaktva karoti ya Lipyate nasapapena Patma patram ivambasa. The word for word translation, please repeat. Brahmani, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adaya, resigning. Karmani, all works. Sangam, attachment. Tyaktva, giving up. Karoti, performs. Ya, who. Lipyate, is affected. Na, never. Saha, he. Papena, by sin. Padmapatram, a lotus leaf. Eva, like. Ambasa, by the water. Now, translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So please repeat. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So now we will hear the purport of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada explains the inner attitude of someone who acts without attachment and who surrenders all his works to Krishna. That purport. Here, Brahmani means in Krishna consciousness. The material world is a sum total manifestation of the three modes of material nature. Technically called the Pradhan. The Vedic hymns Sarvam Yaita Brahma Mandukya Upanishad 2 Tasmate da Brahmam Nama Rupam Anam Chayate Mukunda Upanishads 119 and in Bhagavad Gita 14.3 Mamajyonir Mad Brahma indicate that everything in the material world is a manifestation of Brahman. And although the effects are differently manifested, they are non-different from the cause. In the Upanishad it is said that everything is related to the Supreme Brahman or Krishna. And thus everything belongs to him only. One who knows perfectly well that everything belongs to Krishna, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that therefore everything is engaged in the service of the Lord, naturally has nothing to do with the results of his activities, whether virtuous or sinful. Even one's material body being a gift of the Lord for carrying out a particular type of action can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is then beyond contamination by sinful reactions, exactly as the lotus leaf, though remaining in the water, is not wet. The Lord also says in the Gita, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya, resign all works unto me, Krishna. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of the material body and senses. But a person in in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service. Pramanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karotiya lipyate nasapapena patma patram ivambasa. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action as a lotus leaf is untouched by water. Omagyanati mandasya chinansla shlakya sakshvan militam yena tasmai shri gurave namah. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Sarasvata Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarni Srila Prabhupada Ki. So in this verse and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how to live in this world without being in this world. How to be a part of this world and remain apart. So the inner attitude of a devotee is described in this verse. Prabhupada writes in the purport that those common people, they act with the concept that I'm the body. But the devotee knows I'm a spirit soul. I'm not a body. And this body belongs to Krishna, also the soul. The body belongs to Krishna, he's the proprietor. Because everything comes from Krishna, all the creation comes from Pradhan, so everything comes from Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna. And therefore, we use the body in the service of Krishna. So this means that the inner thoughts, the inner intention, the inner consciousness of a devotee is that he always thinks, all what I have, my body, that all possessions are under my care, belongs to Krishna. They are not me, for me. So that's without attachment. So that inner attitude we need. Detached means without attachment, without thinking, this is mine. So this belongs to Krishna. And therefore I must offer it to him in service. Therefore I think always of Krishna during my service, and because I'm doing everything for him. So that's the inner attitude. So once there is the story of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami, when he was young, Raghunath, he was the son of Sri Govardhan, and he was living in Saptagram, not far from Panihati. And Raghunath Das was the son of Sri Govardhan, who was a landholder. that a landowner and a landlord and a tax collector, and they were very rich, very rich. And Sri Govardhan, he had a good friend, a saintly person who came to visit him regularly. And that saintly person was Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, one of the personal associates of Lord Chaitanya. And when Haridas Thakur came to visit Sri Govardhan, and he told Raghunath about Lord Chaitanya. And hearing about Lord Chaitanya, then Raghunath developed a desire to meet Lord Chaitanya. So after Lord Chaitanya received sannyas in Katwa, he first went to the house of Advaita Acharya in Santipur. And there, at the time that Madhavendra Puri passed away, that there was a kind of festival to celebrate the Tirobhav, the disappearance of Madhavendra Puri. And also, at that time, Raghunath went to see Lord Chaitanya. And he became so attracted to Lord Chaitanya that when he came back home, although he was from a very wealthy family, he lost his interest in all wealth, that in all business, in all family affairs, and his family became really worried that, and they made a plan to bind him, and they arranged for a marriage of Raghunath with a very beautiful girl. And he was married, so they were thinking, now it's okay. He will be bound by marriage and attraction to his wife and so on. But it didn't help. That Raghunath remained uninterested in his new wedded life, in his family life, everything. So he just wanted to be with Lord Chaitanya, leave family life, go away, and join Lord Chaitanya. So, sometime later, when Lord Chaitanya was traveling, he came near to Panihati, and with the permission of his father, he went to see Lord Chaitanya. When he met Lord Chaitanya, he explained, I just want to be with you, I want to leave family life, everything. Give everything up. And Lord Chaitanya said, no, you should remain where you are. But you should internally always think of Krishna. And externally you do your business. So like a wife who has a lover but at home she does all her household chores very nicely, so that her husband does not become suspicious. But internally, she thinks always of her lover. So in the same way, you do your business, family life, be nice with your parents, and internally you think always of Krishna. Of course, it turned out for Raghunath that he could not do it. He tried for some time. But so that is important for devotees, this internal life, always in all one's actions, serving Krishna, thinking of Krishna. That's the most important instruction in the matter of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, performing sadhana. That always think of Krishna and never forget him. It's many times not easy to do that. But it's important. Srila Prabhupada came to the West, came to America. But with his consciousness, he remained rooted in Vrindavan in his service to Krishna. That he did not listen to all this American attraction for the glitter of this world. No, internally, he remained rooted in Vrindavan as a servant of Krishna. And by that, he was never affected by anything external in this world. So that means we are part of this world, but we remain apart. And this is very important in our practice of devotional service. We are following sadhana. What is this sadhana? Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti means we don't have this internal disposition yet of always thinking of Krishna. Sadhana is devotional service. Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is devotional service we do on the basis of the instructions of the spiritual master to engage our mind and senses in the service of Krishna. Following these instructions. If we are on the spiritual platform, then spontaneous we think of Krishna, but we are not on that platform. Therefore we perform sadhana. And what is this sadhana? It's like a mother buys for a small or young daughter, 5 years old, an imitation kitchen. And the mother is cooking, and the young girl is imitating the mother of her imitation kitchen. She is preparing plastic chapatis. So it's not real, it's imitation. So our Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti means we perform it on the instructions of the spiritual master, but the internal is not yet there. Sometimes we think of Krishna, mostly we forget him. But by following this Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, gradually we will become purified. Especially in the matter of chanting the holy name. In the purport of verse 8 in Nectar of Instruction, which is a summary of Nectar of Devotion in 11 verses, Nectar of Instruction. And that in this verse 8, the Nectar of Instruction, it is said one should chant these nectarian names of Krishna 24 hours a day. That in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, in the matter of chanting of the holy name, you have 5 stages of Smaranavasta, remembering Krishna. In the beginning we chant, and mostly internally we don't think of Krishna. We think of other things mostly. The mind takes your way to other spheres, but the tongue is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Ram. But we don't become absorbed. That, at least I have that problem. Am I the only one who has that problem? No? No? Okay. Good to know. Krishna says then, Srila Prabhupada writes, by following Vaidhi Bhakti, usually the periods that we forget Krishna become shorter. And the periods that we remember Krishna becomes longer. So that takes a while. So after some time, a few years chanting, you start to remember sometimes Krishna when you chant. Interesting. Well, but gradually, the periods that you remember Krishna become longer, and the periods you forget Krishna becomes shorter. And at a certain moment, it will become continuous, remembering Krishna. Continue. That is liberation. Then you have attained liberation. Always absorbs in Krishna. So it's not easy to attain, but when we attain that, Prabhupada said, you go to the next phase in remembering Krishna. What is that? Your absorption becomes deeper. And then Krishna will start revealing himself in your mind. And the first thing he reveals is his form. It's beautiful, Shyama Sundar's form. And then gradually Krishna reveals his qualities, his unparalleled beauty, his curling hair, his smiling face, and then he reveals his qualities, his sweetness. And then when the absorption becomes deeper, you see, oh, Krishna is in a spiritual environment. And you start to see parts of the spiritual world. And when the absorption becomes more deeply, you start to see that there are parrots in the parrots of Vrindavan. You start to see the desire trees. And gradually Krishna reveals his pastimes. That's called Aprakat Lila. And we see most of our acharyas, many have attained this stage. And they see the pastimes. And therefore they can give so many details of the pastimes. Anyway, that's far away, but we see how sadhana bhakti is meant to purify our minds so that we can remember Krishna constantly. So this is the highest yoga system, how to control the mind. Krishna says with attachment and suitable, with detachment and suitable practice. It says with detachment, without attachment. And the internal disposition of the devotee is described in this purport of today. Why the devotee is detached? Because he knows, I'm not his body. This body belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. And therefore, I offer everything to Krishna. Once Sanatana Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis, he arrived in Jagannath Puri to see Lord Chaitanya. And he came to the Jharikand forest and he got a disease on his body, a skin disease, and he had sores all over his body, and some pus came out. And he was visiting Haridas Thakur, who was staying outside under a tree from a distance from Jagannath Puri. He could see the top of the Jagannath temple, the chakra. And Lord Chaitanya would every day come to visit Haridas Thakur. But Sanatana Goswami was thinking, this body is contaminated with all these sores and this pus. If Lord Chaitanya is embracing me, he will touch that. I will contaminate him. I will commit a great offense. And indeed, when Lord Chaitanya visited Haridas Thakur and he saw that Sanatana Goswami arrived, he embraced him with force. And Sanatana Goswami felt very bad. He said, now I've committed a great offense. At the next Ratha Yatra festival, I will jump under the cart of Jagannath, and by that I will be freed from this offense. But Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. He's in everyone's heart. He knew the thoughts and the plans of Sanatana Goswami. So next time he came to see Sanatana Goswami, it chastised him. And he said, you think your body belongs to you? No, your body belongs to me. And I have great plans with this body to go to Vrindavan to excavate all the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And then Sanatana Goswami understood, it's not my body. I'm in the service of Lord Chaitanya. So this is how a devotee thinks, that is internal. And if one always thinks, I'm a servant of Krishna, nothing belongs to me, everything should be used in Krishna's service, then you will never get reactions for your actions in this world. That is purity in the inner thought of a devotee. So So therefore it's important we consider we are performing devotional service, but the devotion, the internal part, is the most important. If we develop this internal part, then our purification will be quicker. Like when you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, Krishna says, yes, when the minds wander, you have to bring it back always. It wanders away, and you have to bring it back. But sometimes that can be a big fight. It wanders, and every time you bring it back, it comes very intense. And there's no devotion. It's just a fight. But if we try to chant internally with affection, I give all love or all affection that I put it in the chanting just for the pleasure of Krishna, without asking something in return. Then your mind will be easily controlled. It will be more easy to fix it on Krishna. So therefore, it's so important that we observe our mind. What are we thinking when we are chanting? And engage the mind in the chanting by filling the mind with this devotion. And that is the best method for controlling the mind, and that will help us to make spiritual advancement. So these are a few words I could say on this verse, and a few recommendations for improving our sadhana. Any questions, comments?
So for someone who wants to start, who wants to begin their bhakti, how can they start? What is a simple method that you would give to them? Like what is the first step?
The first step is Shraddha. That is what Rupa Swami says. Shraddha means I have faith in what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Shraddha means I hear from devotees lectures, and I think that makes sense, let's try it. That's the beginning. But then, to bring that in practice, one needs sadhu sangha. One needs to associate with devotees and ask them, how do I bring it in practice? You learn from them. What do you learn from them? Bhajana kriya, which is the performance of sadhana. And that is a continuous process of learning and improving by association of devotees. But association of devotees means hearing their instructions, taking their guidance, and for one who begins with bhakti, it begins with hearing from Prabhupada, reading Prabhupada's books, and that is most important. Yeah, that if one performs sadhana bhakti, it leads to purification of intelligence and mind, and practically from the beginning, the quality of one's life improves. That's the first effect. That you will feel less disturbed. That and more and it will enable you to especially to control the mind, because that's important. Factual control of the mind means fix your mind on Krishna. If you don't fix your mind on Krishna internally, as explained today, you will be affected by by this world and get contaminated by so many desires, material desires, which end up factually in frustration. So that's the first step. And the first step is glorious. I must say, when I started devotional service in '92, very quickly I felt the result that I became internally a different person. And much more tolerant. But that it's a process. But usually in the beginning, Krishna gives some extra mercy in the beginning. Does that help? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for your lecture. I was just wondering, how can one track their progress in their sadhana? What are some indicators for, tracking that, oh, we are progressing in our sadhana? Because sometimes we may believe or stay in a certain level of mechanical chanting. So how do we know that, oh, we are progressing and we are going to another stage of sadhana bhakti?
Yeah, practicing sadhana bhakti, which means that I follow certain principles and I chant the holy name and offer all my food to Krishna and so on. That how do I know I make progress? Because devotional service is a process with stages. How do I know that I make progress? That when one comes to one is very strict in one's sadhana, then gradually one's mind becomes purified. Means less suffering. That's a first indicator. A second indicator is one gets taste for chanting, taste for more chanting, taste for hearing about Krishna, taste for Krishna Prasad, taste to perform devotional service, taste to associate with devotees, taste for kirtan. Taste comes. If taste does not increase, means you are chanting with offenses. And we have to overcome these offenses. Offenses can be that we are disrespectful to devotees or people in general, disrespect against the holy name, disrespect against the scriptures, not really accepting that. So that are the 10 offenses against the holy name. But to overcome that and progress in the chanting, we must hear, especially from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, we become internally more and more rooted in the understanding we are a soul, we are not a body, we are a servant of Krishna, that we don't need this gross and subtle body to exist. The spirit soul has his own life. Because we learn about three aspects from the Bhagavatam. About Krishna, if we understand who Krishna is, we understand that we are not Krishna. We are the servant of Krishna. But we are of the same quality, both spiritual. But we are now trying to exploit the lower energy, matter. But that's not our position. As the spiritual energy, the higher energy, we should connect with the higher energy, the spiritual energy. Therefore Krishna says, Mahatmanastu mamparta devim pragati ashvita. A Mahatma, a devotee, knows how to connect with the spiritual energy. And one connects with the spiritual energy by connecting with Krishna. That connection is devotional service. That connection is kirtan. That connection is serving the deity. Always doing everything for Krishna. So if one understands this process, then that helps us to improve our chanting and improve our service attitude towards Krishna. And the more that improves, the more we make progress. This is a few things, but these are the basic points. Does that help?
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I'm not sure if that was the exact thing you mentioned, but it was like there are few stages of remembering Krishna, and then the first one was chanting, but we are not properly thinking of Krishna while that. Would you like to say the other stages again?
Yeah, that we are chanting, but what does our mind do? It's absorption in the holy name. No, it brings up so many things. You have still to do this, that, and we chant. Instead of thinking of Krishna, we make our shopping list. Or we think about the things we have to do during the day. No, the chanting, we must protect our consciousness. You don't go out of here. You stay with Krishna. This is your private time with Krishna. You tell to the mind, yes, we have to do all these things later, after the chanting. But now chanting, that's we have to educate the mind like that. But the power to educate the mind like that comes also from the chanting. That comes from devotional service. So sometimes it's difficult. It becomes like a vicious circle. But so you need mercy to come to that point. And what is the source of that mercy? The spiritual master instructs you to chant, and you follow his instructions, and Krishna is pleased. And Gandhi, he will help you if you are determined to go more internal. But it's important, we must try to go more internal. We are the consciousness in the body. If the consciousness is not in the chanting, we are not chanting really. The consciousness must be in the chanting. So that's something we have to endeavor for, and if we follow Krishna's instructions and the spiritual master, Krishna will be merciful, and Jalli we will come to. But there is also the following. if that mercy, where does it come from? Serve the mission of the spiritual master. That will make you dear to Krishna. And by serving the mission, you are busy not for something for yourself, but for Krishna. You may not think of Krishna in the mission, but you're doing it for Krishna. Because the results goes to Krishna. So that is a shortcut. That engagement in service for the spreading of Krishna consciousness makes one dear to Krishna. And that purifies one quicker. That's a shortcut. But usually we don't do that yet in the beginning. But this aspiration to engage in the mission must grow and will grow if we are sincere. Because that's the best way to please Krishna. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you.
Yeah.
One more question. So, is that okay? Right, yeah. So, sometimes, let's say your schedule is busy, and you're trying your best to catch up with schedule. You're waking up early, you're sending your rounds, and then further you're listening, then reading, and doing services. But sometimes one of them goes a little high, and then because of which you might have to skip the other thing. Let's say Rath Yatra is here, there are a lot of services, and then it's kind of hard, especially when you are dealing with a lot of things, to specifically, let's say, read. It gets a little hard. So how do we manage everything at the same time so that everything remains equal?
Yeah, of course. We may have extraordinary situations of service, but as long as you engage in service, you are protected. But one thing is, when we make a promise to the spiritual master to chant 16 rounds, we must do it. But the other things that may, in extraordinary situations like festivals and so on, that may overrule the other services. That's all right. But it's good to have too much service. If you have too much service, means you are very busy in Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious activities, and no time for Maya, the illusory energy. So that's good. We should always be very busy in Krishna consciousness. And a Krishna conscious person, if you have, from the moment 35 years ago when I started to perform sadhana, I knew always what to do. You have to cook for Krishna, you have to read so many books that you have, you have to chant your rounds. You have always, it's without limit. You have to serve Krishna in we can serve Krishna in so many ways. Being a Krishna conscious person is never without service. We always know what to do. That material life can be very boring. Krishna conscious never. It's full of excitement. Because from the moment you start to chant Krishna, you start to chant the holy names and you perform sadhana, you are dedicated to him, you come under Krishna's protection. Krishna says, Ananya Sintyantamam Yechana Parapasti Te Samnitya Vyuktam Yoriksenam Hamnam. Krishna says, I will protect the Krishna consciousness that my devotee has developed, and I give him more and more opportunity to advance further. So you will get enough service in Krishna consciousness that, and sure, if someone wants service, the temple commander will help you. There are always opportunities for service. Hare Krishna. Good. Thank you very much. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I just want to know what is the significance of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and can we chant like other names like Krishna and...
So Krishna has, or God has many names that, and chanting these holy names will purify you. But the Krishna is described in the Vedas as Krishnastu Bhagavansvayam Etisham Skalapusa Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavansvayam. He is the origin of all other incarnations. And therefore, his name is the most powerful. It is said one, I think, anyway, that it's the most powerful, and the authorities coming from Krishna, Brahma, Narada Muni, and so further, descending, the spiritual masters, they all advise the chanting of the names of Krishna, especially Lord Chaitanya, who appeared 500 years ago. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, and he came in this time, Kali Yuga, to advise how to make progress in devotional service in Kali Yuga, in this age. Krishna, 5,000 years ago, said in Bhagavad Gita that surrender unto me, sarvadam prisham mamakam sarvacham tvam sarvapabhya mokshayishyami matsya. Surrender unto me. Surrender unto me means following his main instruction. His main instruction is manmana, always think of me, Krishna says. Manmana, then bhavamat bhakto, then you become my devotee. And then machai, you worship me. So that's the process of becoming a devotee of Krishna. That means surrender. But Krishna knew 5,000 years ago. In this age, that's very difficult. No one surrenders to anyone. Therefore, he decided, because he said in Bhagavad Gita, that one can control the mind and fix it on Krishna when one is detached and performs a suitable practice. The practice in previous ages were meditation, but everyone in this age is too disturbed to do that. In previous ages, other processes were jahyas, fire sacrifice, but there are no qualified Brahmins in this age. Nobody can do it practically. That Astanga Yoga, Prabhupada said maybe a handful in the Himalayas can do it. But what is the best practice in this age to fix your mind on Krishna? Lord Chaitanya came. It's Krishna himself. But it came in the form of his own devotee. How to become a devotee, how to become a practitioner of Bhakti Yoga in this age. And he spread this, that's one of the reasons for his appearance, to spread the chanting of these holy names. Is Krishna himself. And he tells us, based of the Kali Santar Upanishad, and there are 4 or 5 scriptures where that is mentioned, that one should chant a Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We learn from Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto that in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, everyone is chanting these holy names. That so this Hare Krishna mantra comes from the spiritual world. It's not a material sound vibration. And therefore, if we chant it, you will see that you immediately feel an effect. Because you can try to chant Coca-Cola, 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 but after a few minutes it will be boring. But when you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, you don't have that. You feel attracted to the chanting. That because the holy name is Krishna. But this holy name will only manifest its full potency if you chant with the proper attitude. This attitude is described by Lord Chaitanya as Trinata Pishna Nichna Taroa Visaisna Amana Manadana Kirtanya Sadari. You must be more humble than a grass than a straw in the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all prestige, ready to give all honor to others. And when you chant the holy name in that mood, you will get the effect. You can also chant other names, but will not be so effective. It is said that 1,000, I think, 3 names of Vishnu equals 1 name of Krishna, and 1 name of Ram equals 1,000 names of Vishnu, I think. Anyway, there's a difference in potency. But does not mean that one cannot chant other names. Ram Bhaktas, they chant Ram, 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 Ram. But the Hare Krishna mantra is special because it has 3 names: Hare, Krishna, and Ram. So Krishna is the Ishvara, is the source of everything, is all attractive. Krishna means all attractive. And Ram means full of ananda, full of bliss. And Hare is the vocative of Hara. Hara is Krishna's spiritual energy. Hara represents Radharani, and Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So Krishna is the origin of everything, is energetic, and the energy is Hara. But we have to approach Krishna to his energy, connect with his spiritual energy. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Mahatmanam tu mam parta devim pragati ashvita. The Mahatma knows how to connect with the spiritual energy. And this is through Hara, through the spiritual energy. Hara is Radharani. We approach Krishna through Radharani. You cannot directly approach. Therefore, you need also chant Hare. So we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yeah, Hare is 8 times there. Because through Hare we connect with Krishna. You have on the altar Radha Gopinath. Radha Gopinath. We pray to Radharani for the blessings and the mercy of Krishna. We cannot go directly to Krishna. And that is the science, how to chant, that you have Krishna's name and Radharani's name. And if we chant them properly, we get Ram, we get spiritual bliss. Therefore, but Ram means also spiritual power. That so the Hare Krishna mantra means prayers to Krishna, please engage me in your devotional service. And that's the inner attitude. It's a prayer to Krishna. Best effect of the chanting is if we chant it as a baby cries for the mother. If a baby cries for the mother, it's focused on the mother, and it is very intense. That it wants only the mother. And in that same way, if we chant His holy names, we will get quickly effect. But one must chant His holy names very respectful, because it is Krishna Himself. If we accept that in our heart, then it will have great effect on our consciousness, and we will become purified by passion and ignorance, become peaceful, and finally find Krishna in our heart, because He's always with us in our hearts. He says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya Mridishana Vishtu, I'm in your heart. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Ridisayunatistati. Another verse, Krishna says, I'm in your heart. There are 3 or 4 verses in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna repeats that. Does that help to understand that the idea? Thank you. Good. Good. I think we can end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your wonderful session. And so this event is hosted by Bhakti Academy. We also have a bunch of other events so if you are someone who likes Kirtan, you can come and visit us on Wednesday. If you're someone who likes spiritual discussions or philosophical discussions, you can come on Saturday and Friday. And if you're someone who likes party and who enjoys dancing, singing, and feasting, you can join us on Sunday. So thank you so much again, Maharaj, for hosting this wonderful session. And with that, I would like to end today's session. Hare Krishna. So the DT doors will open at 8 p.m. and we'll have an amazing Kirtan. We'll also be serving Prasadam at 8:30. So please do join us for the Kirtan and take the Prasadam. Hare Krishna.